the KXLY News Center in downtown Spokane. This is KXLY 4 News at 5, working for you.
No rest for weary firefighters or devastated homeowners.
Tired, they're working long hours, they're not getting sleep, but they're giving it their best. They're doing a great job.
KXLY 4 Fire Watch coverage continues from across our state with tears for the fallen, prayers for the injured, and hope as help moves in from near and far. And another dangerous day on the fire lines in eastern and central Washington as more fires blow up, driven by dangerous winds. Good evening. Thanks for joining us. I'm Nadine Woodward. A lot of fires to get to tonight. We start with the Okanogan County Complex fire, which grew overnight to more than 160,000 acres. Fire crews won't even guess how many homes it destroyed. Entire towns remain evacuated, and fire bosses are trying to plan their next attack.
Eat an elephant one bite at a time. And that's exactly what we're going to do.
But across the fire lines, one common enemy is holding them back: relentless winds. We have in-depth fire coverage tonight across Washington and North Idaho. We go first to Chris Crocker, tracking critical fire weather conditions. Chris?
Well, I want to start off with our air quality in Spokane, as those northwesterly winds have brought copious smoke into the region. The Spokane Regional Health District advising all residents to stay inside and avoid strenuous activity. We're way up at 225. I have never seen it this high in Spokane, the very unhealthy range for our air quality index. And I do not expect this is going to be improving anytime soon. Here's a look at our current winds across the region, and they have died down around the Omak area. 14-mile-per-hour sustained winds with some higher gusts. Gusts, however, look like they'll peak in the 30 to 35-mile-per-hour range. They were quite a bit stronger earlier this morning. We have 15-mile-per-hour winds in Spokane with wind gusts up to 25 miles per hour. Meanwhile, like manna from heaven, some residents got a little bit of thunderstorm activity move through the Rathdrum Prairie area, the Coeur d'Alene area, with some thunderstorms and some rain also Post Falls. But we are still under a red flag warning until 11 o'clock tonight for the gusty winds and the low relative humidity. Those showers are the exception, not the rule. I will be back with more on this critical fire weather and how things may improve tomorrow in just a few minutes. Nadine?
Well, thank you, Chris. And back to those fire lines now, where unstoppable flames continue to advance across eastern and central Washington, also forcing people from their homes in the North Idaho Panhandle. Everything is a challenge today. That's what fire bosses in Okanogan are telling reporters. Winds made it easy for the fires to spread and made it nearly impossible for firefighters to stop. KXLY 4's John Hendricks live in Omak tonight. And John, is the wind calmed down there yet?
Nadine, it hasn't. Well, firefighters have been dealing with these howling winds today. We've seen gusts in the area of 40-plus miles an hour, but there is a glimmer of hope. The weather is expected to change over the next 24 hours, but firefighters are facing a huge challenge, and that is those winds tonight. It is the sound firefighters dread. That hissing noise of gusty winds.
It is a challenge.
Thursday night, they picked up across north central Washington. The fires burning here erupting, sending many running for safety.
When you do try and pick up a flank where the wind is in your favor, 10 minutes later, the wind changes direction, and it's causing a problem.
Overnight, the flames continued to march across the land. Firefighters were able to stop these flames before any homes were taken on the Chilliwack. Further up Highway 20, the fires threatened transmission lines that travel over Loop Loop Pass, supplying the Meadow Valley with power.
It is still threatened. Those are the ones that we're spending a lot of time and resources trying to protect.
Fire bosses say, however, safety is the #1 priority as they fight this monster.
Am I able to safely deploy resources to be able to protect it? I'm not going to get somebody hurt or killed protecting stuff.
The plan of attack: to save lives first, then worry about the rest. Tonight, a glimpse of optimism as they take this one step at a time.
You eat an elephant one bite at a time. And that's exactly what we're going to do.
Firefighters say that they do have open flanks, and these gusty winds have just been pushing these fires towards the south. They're hopeful by tomorrow that some relief will come in, and that relief to them is gusty winds reaching 25 miles an hour. Reporting live tonight, John Hendricks, KXLY 4 News.
All right, thank you for that, John. So many areas on fire right now here and across the West. Resources very scarce, but help is on the way tonight.
It's all hands on deck, and as you can imagine, with so many fires, it's tough.
Well, today, President Obama declaring a state of emergency in Washington and ordering federal aid. FEMA now authorized to coordinate disaster relief and will provide assistance with communications, emergency power, even trauma counseling for impacted families. Help, though, can't come soon enough for the thousands of families forced from their homes, waiting to see if they have anything left when they return. More than 110 buildings have been destroyed by flames, many of them homes.
Seen neighbor's house almost burned, several of them. There's one house real close that got burned, and fire workers are exhausted. We don't have enough crew. We're the biggest county in Washington, and we're all on fire. But I'm Tenasket, we're strong and brave. And
wow. Crews evacuated the town of Tenasket last night. Blue skies, though, replacing the smoke there this morning. But everyone knows that the next evacuation could come at any moment. Fire crews want to stop those flames. They want to protect homes. But on a fire that has already killed 3 firefighters, well, they are not taking any chances.
I'm not going to get somebody hurt or killed protecting stuff.
KXLY4's Grace Ditzler continues our in-depth coverage tonight from OMAC. Grace, you've seen the destructive power of this fire firsthand.
Nadine, KXLY producer Brian Neal and I went up to meet with a man whose home was destroyed last night in the Riverside area. While we were up there talking to him, we got stuck in a terrible windstorm, and that really showed us how crazy the elements are here in Okanagan County right now. The windy gravel road up McLaughlin Canyon is gorgeous, with sweeping views of OMAC and Riverside below. But today, that beauty is overshadowed by the charred remains of the fire that raged through here last night.
Well, just the heat was so intense, we knew we had to go. And we just left with whatever we had in with the truck and the car and left.
John Graham and his wife evacuated quickly, knowing there was nothing they could do.
Sources just aren't there to fight it. So there was nobody up here to help fight anything, so it just had to, whatever happened, happen.
John came back to find his house leveled by the fire.
I was a little bit sad, but I was glad to see the garage still standing.
Yeah.
So, you know, it's not the end of the world. I mean, it can all be replaced. You know, so that's the main thing. No life was lost.
This morning, John wanted to assess the damage of his home, but a sudden and dramatic windstorm came howling through his property, forcing us all to hunker down in his garage. These winds whipped ash and dust around John's property, adding insult to injury during what was already an unthinkable day.
When we bought it, it was a fixer-upper. No electricity, no nothing. And so then we brought power down and remodeled it. Took us 4 years to remodel it, coming over from the coast. And we finally liked it so much we moved in.
We left John in the middle of that windstorm. He said he'd wait it out and then keep working when the ash subsides and his dream views return.
We could rebuild it. I'm a carpenter, so I can rebuild it.
And we've heard stories throughout the day of other people around the area who have lost their homes. Evacuation notices continue to come in different areas at different times throughout the region. Reporting live in OMAC tonight, Grace Ditzler, KXLY 4 News.
All right, thank you, Grace. Well, the Carpenter Road fire in Stevens County moved to the north today, fanned by winds and dust devils spreading the flames. It's burning about 35 miles northwest of Spokane. Firefighters have containment lines around 5% of that nearly 20,000-acre complex. Well, these fires have stretched every available resource. Crews will arrive this week from Australia. It still, though, won't be enough. KXLY4's Katie Curry shows us how the state is now turning to average citizens, hoping to turn them into firefighters.
Nadine, all across Washington, people have been stopping and asking how they can help fight these fires. But DNR says this is a dangerous job. Case in point, we lost 3 very highly qualified firefighters just this week.
Hi, DNR volunteers. My voicemail box for the phone was set up this morning at about 6:20, and it was full by 8 o'clock this morning.
3 people from DNR were manning the phones this morning as callers from all over the United States and even Canada reached out eager to get on the fire lines.
A little help goes a long ways, and it can save a life and whatnot.
Sean's Colville home isn't threatened by the fires, but he wants to help those who aren't as lucky.
I've been trying to do everything I can to help out with everything and whatever these firefighters need, and this is the next step. And I got my blue card and got a little more experience on the actual fire.
What we are looking for currently right now are
having either a blue card or a red card are 2 of the qualifications DNR is looking for in volunteers.
Folks with a red card, those are really our on-the-line folks. You know, the firefighters, the folks in the engines, that sort of thing. Blue cards are the folks that are running the equipment. Typically, it's a dozer with an operator attached, and those really are the resources that we're trying to find and we're in great need of.
DNR says for the many people reaching out to volunteer who do not have the proper qualifications, they are working with the Red Cross to see if their services can still be used in some way.
We take safety very seriously, and it is paramount that anybody that we have that engages, we know are qualified, have the training necessary to go out there and do the job that needs to be done.
If you would like more information about how you can become a volunteer firefighter, just head to KXLY.com. Reporting in Stevens County, Katie Curry, KXLY 4 News.
You can go to KXLY.com, but we also know that if you are interested, there are training sessions Saturday and Sunday morning. They are at Colville High School at 8 and at 10:30 a.m. You are asked to email DNR at the address on your screen. We are just beginning our wildfire coverage on KXLY 4 News. Coming up, bringing them home. Firefighters say goodbye to 3 of their brothers killed protecting homes in our communities. You're watching Fire Watch coverage on KXLY 4 News at 5. Three heroes who gave their lives protecting us, and tonight their brothers and sisters still on the fire lines continue to battle the flames that killed them.
Anytime we lose a firefighter, it's personal. Doesn't matter what agency.
And the work goes on with heavy hearts, as the best way to honor those fallen firefighters is just to keep fighting. 20-year-old Tom Bashevsky, 26-year-old Andrew Zajac, and 31-year-old Richard Wheeler died Wednesday when flames overtook their vehicle on a road outside of Twisp. Last night, just before sunset, 3 ambulances carried their bodies away from the burn scar and through town. Fellow firefighters stopped to watch and honor their memory in silence, and then they returned to the fire lines to continue their work.
Tired, they're working long hours, they're not getting sleep, they're getting chased from one house to another, but they're giving it their best. They're doing a great job.
More than 800 firefighters are on the lines of the Okanagan County fire, thousands more battling other wildfires across the state. Support continues to pour in for the firefighter critically injured in that same fire. He is 25-year-old Daniel Lyon Jr. He suffered serious burns on more than half of his body. And this was Lyon's first year in the U.S. Forest Service. He loved the outdoors and serving his community. So now, the community is repaying that favor, many writing notes and collecting funds for the family. Charlie Schweitzer asked the Spokane Valley Bar, this one, to help out and raise money. He says his grandson grew up with lions.
I think we guys did everything together. And to hear this, it just hurts. And I thought, why not do everything I can to help him?
Now, he doesn't know how much they'll be able to raise, but says it is going to be a long road to recovery, and he thinks anything will help. Well, this unprecedented fire season we're experiencing has shaken emergency managers that have been doing their jobs for decades. KXLY4's Casey Lund working for you tonight with the extra help firefighters are thankful to have, some of it coming from the other side of the globe.
We've talked to county sheriffs, incident commanders, and the grunts out there digging line here in eastern and central Washington. They all agree this wildfire season's like nothing they've seen before. And our incident management system in this country's set up to allow places that aren't burning to send their extra resources to places that are, like Washington, Idaho, and Oregon. But what happens when those extra firefighters, air tankers, and water tenders are already here? It's a different kind of fight for these men and women.
For me, this is a new experience, so it's all exciting.
While some of these 200 Washington National Guard soldiers have firefighting experience, many don't. They were activated by Governor Jay Inslee this week and jumped right into the action. This is video from the National Guard of soldiers assisting DNR firefighters on the First Creek fire near Chelan. These soldiers were told they would likely be needed this fire season. It was just a matter of when.
During our annual training of this year, we went through red card training to help firefighters out for this year. It shows us the basics of firefighting, what to expect, what to do in situations, what things to avoid, how to communicate, things that you should be able to spot on hand.
And recently we learned 70 more firefighters are heading to the west, this firestorm bringing them all the way from Australia. It's the first time since 2008 that international resources have been called in during a state of emergency. All the coordinating for those extra resources happens down in Boise at the National Interagency Fire Center, or NIFC. And I talked to a spokesperson there who says those Australian firefighters, 70 of them, will be here in eastern and central Washington by Monday. They'll be briefed on Tuesday and digging line, helping out their American counterparts by Wednesday. And we're thankful for their efforts. Reporting on the KXLY 4 Skydeck, I'm Casey Lund, KXLY 4 News.
And Chris Crocker here. And Chris, the weather is just the story of the day in fighting these fires.
Yes, and fire bosses knew it the moment they arrived at work this morning.
Seen the wind direction go 360 degrees in multiple locations.
Coming up, what's ahead for the rest of this evening, and we'll tell you if firefighters will get some relief from the winds this weekend. You're watching KXLY 4 News at 5. You're looking at a live picture of downtown Spokane right now, where our air quality is in the very unhealthy range. Trying to get an updated reading, but the Spokane County Air Pollution Control Authority's website is shut down because so many people are trying to find out the status of our air quality. It will continue to be in the unhealthy range this evening. Your forecast first for tonight: dusty and smoky, 50 degrees for an overnight low. Wind shifting to the north, that may help push some of the smoke into the Columbia Basin. Sunny and smoky tomorrow, a high of 78 degrees. East winds at 5 to 10 miles per hour. That should help a little bit as well. 72 right now in Spokane. Winds are only at 13 miles per hour. It is more breezy and clearer in Coeur d'Alene. Wind gusts up to 17 miles per hour. It is 72. Red flag warning until 11 o'clock tonight for gusty winds and low relative humidity. We also have a blowing dust advisory until 11 o'clock tonight. Visibility at the airport in Spokane now down to only 1 mile. Combination of blowing dust and that smoke. We also have a wind advisory until 8 o'clock tonight for the Okanagan Valley. Wind gusts up to 35 miles per hour. Some isolated thunderstorm activity in the Silver Valley. Did get many reports of rain from Rathdrum, Post Falls, Coeur d'Alene. It didn't last long, and it is gone now as a cold front has pushed its way through. High pressure is building in behind this cold front for calmer conditions and a warming trend in the forecast. Overnight lows tonight will be down in the 40s and 50s. A cool night behind our front. The National Weather Service has expressed some concern about some people evacuated who are camping being cold tonight. Clear but smoky for Omak and Moses Lake. Once you get above the smoke, you're in the sunshine. And again, those latest computer models showing with northerly winds, some of the smoke pushing out of the Spokane area into the Columbia Basin overnight. Areas of smoke around Libby, Kellogg, and Kalispell, as well as Moscow, Pullman, and Lewiston. Around the northwest, temperatures warming up in Seattle and Portland, 80s and 90s, 66 in Cranbrook, 73 in Missoula. Smoky in the weekend forecast, a calmer weekend, but we are warming up quickly. 78 tomorrow, 87 on Sunday, and then it looks like we'll be back in the 90-degree range Wednesday and Thursday. We'll be right back.
Well, we know many of you are concerned about fires burning in your area. We want you to know that we are keeping everything up to date with fires burning in the region. You can go to KXLY.com to find the latest there. Well, air quality deteriorating across the region. The soccer club FC Spokane has now canceled its River City Cup tournament for this weekend. 112 teams from around the Northwest were supposed to play at Plants Ferry Park this weekend. It is now canceled because of poor air quality. Spokane Indians also announcing that they've canceled post-game fireworks this weekend. The Indians will use money that's usually spent on those fireworks and will donate to the Red Cross. And KXLY4 working for you with how to avoid scammers preying on victims of these wildfires. KXLY4's Aaron Luna joins us now live in the studio with some simple tips.
And Nadine, the majority of people out there truly want to help during disasters such as this, but there are those willing to capitalize on someone's loss. Many people across Washington lost their homes, garages, workshops, or agricultural crops. Fire damage can come in many forms, and it's important for those affected by these fires to act quickly. The Consumer Financial Protection Bureau offers these tips. Start insurance claims as soon as possible. Stay away from adjusters who charge big upfront fees or refer you to contractors. Don't give out more personal information than is needed to make a claim. Get bids from several local established contractors and never pay in cash. State and federal workers will never ask you for money or donations, and there is no fee required to apply for help from FEMA or the U.S. Small Business Association. Also, if you want to help donate to help those affected by these fires, be wary of anyone calling you for money and stick with recognizable names: the Red Cross, United Way, Salvation Army, or local organizations you know and trust. In the studio tonight, I'm Aaron Luna. We'll be right back after the break.
Region on edge, surrounded by fire and buried in smoke. Tonight, we want to thank the firefighters and first responders working so hard to protect our homes and communities. They have a dangerous night ahead.
Here's our 7-day forecast. Smoke, terrible right now. The health authority is advising everyone to stay indoors in Spokane. 78 tomorrow. Winds will be dying down later tonight.
Guys, it's going to be a weekend to stay indoors.
Indeed.
For sure. We have more Firewatch coverage coming up at 6.